No matter how good of a player you are, everyone's experienced that gut-wrenching moment when you whipped all your shots on an easy target. Even those that have reached the peak of the leaderboards have been there. But fear not, I'm Kopecki, and I'm a rating coach who's helped several dozens of players hit Immortal Plus in my 2.5 years of coaching Valorant. And today, we're diving deep into the top 8 reasons why you might be missing your shots in Valorant. As you watch the rest of the video, try and identify which of these 8 mistakes you make the most and intentionally focus on fixing it with the drills and tips I have for you. Let's get started. The first most common mistake I see from players that causes them to whiff is holding angles too tightly for both common angles and off angles. When you're holding a really tight angle, unless you have a 100 millisecond godlike reaction time, you're most likely not going to be able to react to someone peeking you. What typically ends up happening is you try to track the person swinging, and you might even start shooting too early, which adds even more RNG to your bullets. That's why the pop and swing works so well against enemies who expect you to do a standard peek. To easily fix this, we just need better crosshair placement. As a general guideline, while using a 1-4-2-0 crosshair, for common angles, hold about 1 crosshair widths away from the angle, and for off angles, hold about 2 crosshair widths away from the angle, because the enemies will most likely peek much further away from the angle. The second common mistake I see from players that causes them to whiff is crouching too early and not readjusting their crosshair. People think crouching in Valorant is bad, but it's actually far from the truth. A lot of people develop this misconception from seeing players crouch every time in every gunfight and pro guys videos telling beginners you should never crouch. When used correctly, crouching can actually be very useful. For example, you'll notice pros like Durka crouch all the time while he sprays with the Vandal. If you're 100% committing to a gunfight in a close to medium range distance, crouching can decrease the recoil and tighten up your spray. Additionally, you can throw off your enemy's crosshair placement if you crouch peek an opponent at close range. You can also mix in crouching between your strafes to throw off the opponent's aim. The only thing you need to keep in mind if you do end up crouching is even if you are aiming at head height, your crosshair will naturally dip below where you were aiming. So you need to make sure you're readjusting your crosshair while crouching. The only time I'd say you really don't want to crouch is during long range fights. And speaking of long range fights, the third common mistake why players whiff is spraying too often in long range fights. Your bullets will have a larger spread the longer distance that it is you're shooting. In close range fights, it's okay to spray. Heck, you can even dump a whole clip, and with decent spray control, you can wipe the entire team. However, in medium to long range fights, make sure you're shooting 2 bullets and strafing in between those 2 bullets and allowing the recoil to reset itself between your strafes. To help you build this habit, try this drill where you turn on eliminate 50 bots and strafe in the settings, and try strafing in between bursts of 2 shots. On number 4, another reason why players whiff in long range fights is not aiming down sight. For a game that advertised precise gunplay,
it has precise gunplay.
The reason why you whiff might not have to do anything with your aim or movement, but it's actually the gun's first bullet accuracy.
First bullet accuracy, you love this?
What? At really far distances, some of your bullets will not land exactly where you're aiming, like many of the shots you take in life. Take a look at this clip with the Vandal. It's not necessarily your aim that's causing you to whiff, but it's actually your gun. To prevent this from happening, you can aim down sight in fights over 40 meters, which improves your first bullet accuracy by lowering the value and the zoom, making the target slightly bigger on your screen. Now, the 5th reason why players commonly whiff their shots has to do with impatience. Shooting too early before their crosshair is lined up to the target. You gotta keep your eyes on the target. If you start shooting your gun before your crosshair is fully on the target, not only do you have to flick and adjust your aim to the target, but also be pulling down your crosshair to control the recoil. And the additional RNG added to your weapon spray will cause you to whiff the majority of your shots. To help you fix this habit, you can practice this flicking and micro adjustment drill with the classic, where the goal is to improve the speed of your flicks while also making sure that you prioritize accuracy over speed when it comes to micro adjustments. Again, accuracy over speed when it comes to micro adjustments. There's a fast flick and a micro adjustment before the shot. If you notice yourself whiffing, it means you need to slow down your micro adjustments. Another way you can work on fixing this habit is playing deathmatch with the Guardian or Sheriff only and taking your time with your shots. If you need hands-on help to make sure you're doing the drills properly and not wasting any time, check out the link in the description below for more info about my private 6-week coaching program. The 6th common reason why players whiff their shots is shooting too early before you stop. Your bullets are fully accurate when your character has a velocity of 0. That's why you can still shoot accurately while strafing, because in between changes in direction, there's a small window that your character's velocity is 0. If you shoot too early or too late though, your bullets will miss. And that's exactly what a lot of people even in Ascendant and Immortal do, which causes the first or even second bullets to miss, and they have to rely on their spray control and luck to try and hit the rest of their shots. This is a terrible idea since only your first 3 bullets have a relatively tight spread. The rest of your bullets will start to jump up a lot more side to side. To fix this mistake, turn on the movement error graph in the settings to know if you started shooting too early in a gunfight, and practice dead zoning from level 1 through 4. You can move on to the next level if 90% of your shots are showing orange bars. Once you can do level 4 comfortably, you can practice this drill where you dead zone in between strafing and switching from target to target. Keep in mind, you always want to be holding a direction key and constantly moving. The 7th reason why players with their shots has to do with shooting too early before the weapon recoil resets. This is a pretty big issue I see with pistols, but it happens with every gun, even the Judge. People spam their shots way too fast with the Classic and Ghost, which sharply decreases your bullet accuracy. Force yourself to slow down in these gunfights, and you can also practice this in deathmatch. For guns like the Sheriff, just follow the beat to stay alive to make sure your bullets are always accurate. For rifles, this issue becomes apparent when players are going for multi-kills. You kill the first guy, but you can't kill the second because you rush your shots before allowing your recoil to reset. You should strafe after the first kill while allowing your recoil to reset to go for the second kill. If you think you don't have enough time to reset your recoil, especially in closer range fights, you should just go for a spray transfer. I don't recommend trying to learn how to spray transfer until you first get down controlling your first 5 bullets. If none of your bullets are flying too high or too low when spraying 5 bullets, you can then practice this drill where you transfer your spray from one target to the second. You use the same muscle memory of pulling down to control the spray, but all you're doing now is adding a flick to your mouse movement. The 8th and final reason for this video of why players might be whiffing their shots is because their crosshair is hard to see when they start spraying. The reason why I said might is because this might just be due to personal preference. Personally for me, when I use dot crosshairs, I found it harder to see where I'm aiming while I spray. The reason why I think this is important is because I personally find it easier to control my spray with both my muscle memory and being able to visualize how much I'm actually pulling down my crosshair straight. If you're having the same issue, try switching back to a traditional crosshair, and when you switch back, you can also turn off the setting fade crosshair with firing error on, because this setting makes the top of your crosshair disappear when you spray long enough. If you disable this setting, you can see your entire crosshair while spraying multiple bullets. Alright, that's it for this video, and please subscribe if you've enjoyed this content. Goodbye!